Well, earlier on the news, we told you that there's been a bill in the House of Representatives that would mandate that Nigerians should vote in every electoral cycle. And this has generated heated arguments across several platforms as to how that will be possible and if that does not actually violate the constitutional rights of the citizens. So at this point, we're joined by a public affairs commentator, Jide Johnson, who is right here in our studios to talk more about this. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for coming around.
It's a pleasure to be with you and good day to our viewers all over the world. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, should Nigerians, by law, be forced to vote?
Well, franchise is a fundamental human right of every citizenry, and every right is a product of, when it comes to franchise, your right to vote and to be voted for. And that cannot be made compulsory, and that can only be based on your free will. And so attempt by the National Assembly, particularly through the House of Rep, to make it compulsory for Nigerians to vote during the election is a legislative overreach and a dictatorial approach to democratic principles and norms. And it also tells you about their priority. It tells that the priority of the National Assembly membership is about how to secure and win the election. They did not talk about reforming the electoral processes. They did not make it compulsory for Nigerians to have free education. They didn't make it compulsory for all Nigerian communities to be connected to the national grid. They didn't make it compulsory for all Nigerians to have national comprehensive health insurance scheme. What they are making compulsory is voting. It tells you the priority. And if you look at it in terms of scale of preference, what is mostly important to you is what you play first. And this is what the National Assembly is placing first, and it's even coming from the office of the Speaker.
Well, they consider that this particular motion is also part of consolidating or amending the Electoral Act. And of course, the argument or the violation thereof comes from other countries like Australia, Belgium, Brazil, and the likes that have actually adopted compulsory voting, and the outcomes have been positive. So shouldn't this be a benchmark, considered as a benchmark for a country that's trying to strengthen its democracy?
No, that is feasible whereby the voters have confidence. You know the second story which you read in your major headline was talking about the local government election in Lagos. Yaga is raising red flags concerning that. I can tell you for a fact, I was part and parcel of the primary process last weekend. A friend of mine was contesting the election for the local government chairman in Lagos State under the APC platform. It was a charade. It was a charade. It was something that was rigged with a lot of malpractices when it comes to electoral process and procedure. So you can only make voting compulsory whereby the people have confidence in the process. If you look at the processes that have been put in place, what Nigerians are calling for is electoral reforms. Let's reform the process. Now let's have the same day voting. Let's have declaration of result of the election through electronic voting and the rest of it. If you put that in place, if you increase people's confidence in the process, there will be no need for you to make a law that makes it mandatory for people to vote, because people's confidence in it will encourage them to come out to vote in the election. But when I know quite all right that if I come out to vote, my vote does not count, the process had already been manipulated, the process had already been made predictable to bring up predictable outcome, then people will lose confidence in it. And they know quite all right that the voters turnout in 2027 will be marginally low compared to what we have had in the past, and that's why they are trying to do this overreach. What kind of voters education have they embarked upon? What type of program have they done in terms of voters registration? What have they done concerning electoral reforms? And you are talking about compulsory voting. It's my choice to vote or not to vote. You can't force that down the throat of the people.
So would this now mean that the legislators are not actually sincere with what needs to be done to actually improve or strengthen the democratic values of fabrics?
Well, what Nigerians are calling for is our government can come up with policies that will reduce the double-digit inflation that we have, that will make their life better, that will address the insecurity issues that we have, that people can travel to the length and breadth of this country, that will address the power problem. Voting or no voting in the election is not what is the major concern of an average Nigerian presently that cannot even afford to feed his family, that can't even afford to take care of his family. So as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a misplaced priority with respect to what the National Assembly is paying attention on. And they are placing attention on this particular matter because this is what is dear to their heart. They are interested in perpetuating themselves in power. They are not interested in giving the populace deliverables of democracy, things that will make life better for you and I. And that's my thinking.
But just permit me to be cheeky. There are some countries who would force their citizens to participate in military exercise and probably be forced to be conscripted into the Nigerian army when there is a need for that, if there's a war to happen. Now, some people will say this is an electoral process towards patriotism and strengthening Nigeria's electoral system, so to speak, or administration. I mean, we might not get it right, but this might just be one step in the right direction.
Now, if you look at the outcome of 2023 elections and the off-cycle election, the processes that characterize all the off-cycle election, which average Nigerian will have confidence in going out to vote? In actual sense, I said it. Look, there's no election since I turned 18 that I've not voted in. By making it compulsory for the very first time in my life, I'm not going to vote, because anything you force down the throat of the people, you have taken away their free will. Look, even Almighty God gave it to mankind. See, I lay before you life and death. The power of choice is the ultimate right that God has given to mankind. Nobody can force it down your throat to take a particular decision. They should make education compulsory. They should make every community connected to the national grid compulsory. They should make every Nigerian have access to comprehensive health scheme compulsory. That's what they should be focusing on, not who voted or who did not vote in a particular election. And that's not the major concern of Nigeria now. The major concern of Nigeria is to put food on the table of their family, and to ensure that if they want to go to any parts in this country, they can feel safe in the comfort of their home and in the comfort of their travel. So that should be their focus. This shouldn't be the focus of. It's a misplacement. And then don't forget, this is just a distraction. A distraction for many. You know, you and I were talking about it now. Everybody will debate that for the next 2-3 months, and then we'll not be able to talk about what are the achievements of this particular administration in the last 2 years.
Well, this administration sent representatives abroad to go and share the scorecard with some of the investors outside of the country. But that's
another issue for another day, because we just take the timeline that is meant for the news program. That's another issue for another day.
Well, of course. Jide Johnson, thank you so much for your time on the news.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.